Hello, my name is Rafa Romaisha. I am from English Class 3. Today, I will give you a presentation about the global warming effect to polar bears. We've all seen polar bears stranded on sea ice. They are all too often used as the iconic poster animals of a rapidly changing climate. Yet every now and again, claims emerge in the media that polar bears' plight might not be so serious after all. But as temperatures keep rising, polar bears may face a bleak future ahead, say scientists. Their dependence on sea ice makes them highly vulnerable to a changing climate. Polar bears rely heavily on sea ice environment for mating, resting, hunting, traveling, and for some areas, maternal dance. In particular, polar bears rely heavily on sea ice-dependent prey, such as bearded seals and ringed seals. Additionally, their long generation time and low reproductive rate may limit their ability to adapt to change in the environment. There are three impacts of global warming on polar bears. First, disappearing ice because of global warming makes hungrier polar bears. Climate change is heating up the Arctic faster than anywhere else, and sea ice is shrinking 14% per decade. The loss of sea ice affects polar bears' ability to find food. Studies show polar bears feed on ringed seals that live at the ice edge, getting 2/3 of the energy they need for an entire year in the late spring and early summer. With the ice retreating earlier in summer and forming later in winter, it makes polar bears have less time to hunt prey and have to go without food for longer. Scientists have found this can result in a decline in body condition and lower average weight in adult females. Fewer cubs have survived, and the ones that do are smaller, research suggests. While polar bears have shown some ability to adapt to change in their surroundings, scientists project polar bears will become more food stressed as sea ice diminishes and populations will decline. Because of melting sea ice, it is likely that more polar bears will soon starve. Once a new study that discovered the large carnivores need to eat 60% more than anyone had realized. Turns out they are high-energy beasts, burning through 12,325 calories a day, despite sitting around most of the time. And the second impact is the disappearing ice because of global warming makes homeless polar bears. Polar bears' primary habitat is sea ice. They use it as a platform for resting, mating, and for some areas, maternal dance. Female polar bears and their cubs used to live in dens to rest, sleep, and hibernate. When not hunting, polar bears are often sleep or rest. When lack of ice prevents seal hunting, polar bears rest up to 87% of its time resting. On warm days, polar bears sprawl out on the ground or ice, sometimes on their backs, with their feet in the air. They may also make temporary snow or earthen pits to lie in. On cold days, polar bears curl up and often cover their muzzle area. During the winter, some polar bears excavate their dens, or finding some new natural shelter to stay warm. They may use these shelters several months at a time. Pregnant females need to reach islands to give birth to their cubs midwinter in snowdrift dens. In preparation, the animals dig a cave from snow in which to have their cubs. This cave is called a maternity den. The loss of sea ice in Arctic will make polar bears it harder to make dens. It will take longer for polar bears to find their perfect spot, to find shelter they want to live, rest, sleep, and hibernate. Polar bears need dens to be the shelter of the cubs too. This is the third impact. The third impact is the disappearing ice because of global warming can threaten the polar bear's cubs. Polar bear's cubs are born November through January in a den. Mother and cubs emerge from the den in late March or April. Unusually, warm weather can cause collapsed dens, which female build to give birth and protect their young. So, the global warming can threaten the cubs too. To conclude, polar bears are the poster child of the impact of the climate change on species. To date, the global warming has been most pronounced in the Arctic, and this trend is projected to continue. There are suggestions that before the mid-century, we could have the nearly ice-free Arctic in the summer. This increases urgency with which we have to reduce our greenhouse gas emission to prevent the worst consequences of climate change. One of the worst consequences is the extinction of polar bears. So, we must prevent it by reducing our act that can cause the increasing of the global warming. I think that is all for my presentation. I'm sorry if there is any mistake.